was, at the tail end of industrial, kind of the tail end of grunge. When we came out, metal was, I wouldn't say dormant, but it was, like you say, it was kind of in a weird spot.
Today's guest, vocalist, bassist, Steev Esquivel of Skinlab.
This is Graham, MoshPlayLib.
And I'm Veronica. Thank you for playing along.
Join the cult of Grub at moshplaylive.com.
Welcome to the show, Steev.
What's happening?
Well, we're looking forward to having you Friday, October 9th here on the Big Island. My first question for you. Skinlab, originally formed right around 1995, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So
on my birthday.
A long time ago. I was a younger man back in those days. But my question for you was, that was a really interesting time in the music industry and heavy metal, especially. There was a lot of turmoil and change. Who were the influences behind Skinlab to kind of help bring that sound?
When we were coming up, it was, at the tail end of industrial and kind of the tail end of grunge, I would say. And basically, I mean, when we came out, metal was, I wouldn't say dormant, but it was, like you say, it was kind of in a weird spot, I'd say bands like Biohazard and Machine Head, and I mean Machine Head really, from our hometown. Those are our hometown heroes in the Bay Area. I mean, they pretty much kicked the door wide open, not only for us, but I think they helped open a whole new scene and make heavy metal cool again. Of course, being influenced by Pantera, and as well, Sepultura and stuff like that, who was around for a while. But, around that time when we started, Tool was good, like I said, grunge was just coming out. Tool, Rage Against the Machine was just coming out. And it was cool. We didn't necessarily sound like any band like that. We were more influenced by Machine Head and kind of like Neurosis and everything. But, yeah, we like to keep it dark, and we think we found a sound that eventually developed in the Skinlab. But those were really cool times back then, and we wouldn't be where we are without those influences. And we wear, I've always said we wear our influences proudly on our sleeve, and probably due for a Machine Head tattoo on my arm.
Nice. Also on this year's Metal Bash is a band that you had the joy of touring with over the years. That's Piss and Razors. You mind talk some old story there, Piss and Razors, and your relationship over the years? Okay.
I mean, Piss and Razors, those are our brothers. When we started off our first tour, we were on tour with Exodus, and we came through El Paso. And I mean, just on a smoldering hot day, we showed up there pretty much kind of in culture shock. This freaking van pulled up like Scooby-Doo with, like dust behind it, pulled up, and it turned out it was Pissing Razors. Their brother was the promoter of the show. And Eddie's brother, his older brother, was the promoter of the show. And we just, fell in love with them. I remember seeing them for the first time, and I fucking ran out to the bus, and I'm like, Gary, wake up. You got to see this fucking band. Holy Jesus, we have to go on after these guys. It's going to be insane. And we became friends and, brothers. We ended up recording our second album in El Paso, and a lot of tequila. I think it was Rumpelmans back then. You would think as Mexicans they're tequila, but that's also on the menu. But those are true brothers. We call them. We're metal brothers, and we've been through a lot together, and we're boys till the end. So to come out to Hawaii again for the second time, oh boy! last time was fucking insane. I think we had Metal Hammer came out with us. Labels paid for them to make it, an exclusive, or like a big premiere, for the magazine. Mm-hmm. And we just went bananas. We're about 15 years older, 20 years older, but it's going to be pretty crazy. We're stoked.
It is quite. The first 2 years of the Big Island Metal Bash have been quite the experience. So we're looking forward, getting everybody together, and Damien and Chelsea know how to throw a party on during that weekend, and it's going to be quite the blast, actually. So,
yeah, he's been great so far. Just totally excited. So I'm pretty stoked for him. Yeah. Great to be involved. So our third time back, I'm pretty excited.
Yeah. What island did you play the last time you were came to
Oh my
Hawaii?
God, I'm gonna get killed, but like, cause me and my wife are here, and like, my son just got back from Hawaii. He's in the Navy, and he was deployed there, and he's like, "Dad, what are you?" I'm like, "Well, it's called the Big Island Bash." I don't know. We didn't know where we played. I know, all I know, it's okay. So out of the three, it's the popular one with the big beach where there's a lot of people. So you tell me.
I don't, what's that? Oahu. Oahu
Yeah.
from
There you go.
the tech there says Oahu. So very nice.
Yeah, we played there twice. Once with Pissing Raisins, once by ourselves, and both times they were pretty badass.
Very cool.
Yeah, shout out to the guys in Crucible. They used to be a band from out there. They promoters as well.
I was reading online that you guys are after you wrap up your Hawaii dates, you're going to your Hawaii date. You're going jumping back in the studio.
Yes, yes, that's correct. We've just we've been writing for a while, since the last record, and we've written so many songs that you kind of get lost in the vortex of music and everything, and so been kind of a crazy time. So me and my guitar player Marcus, our guitar player Marcus, in the last 3-4 weeks, man, we pulled together and just kind of compiled everything that we've been written, and it's crazy. We have way too much for a record, and that's pretty exciting. So once again with our boy Ulrich Wild, we'll be back in there as soon as we get home. And right now we have 8, 9, 10 songs like that, but probably have about 15 to choose from. So I'm just gonna go ahead and say this. Who knows? This could be the last record, man. So we're really gonna give everything we can. We're not getting any younger.
I was a volunteer on the 70,000 tons of metal cruise this past year, and working as a gear pusher, and seeing all the old metalheads on the cruise ship. I was like watching. It was a great time, and it was like, man, we're all banging our heads a lot slower now. Yeah, the artists, the old guys were all sitting out there. We're kind of like, it's not like the old days where we're whipping our heads around on a windmill or anything. It's but it's really the metal community as a whole. You said Exodus. That was my first mosh pit. MTV Headbangers Ball Tour back in the day.
Me too.
Yeah. Dayton, Ohio.
I guess. Well, it was Pleasure of the Flesh, but yeah. Exodus. Yeah, the soundtrack of my childhood.
Oh,
my life.
Yeah, Exodus. I've got to catch them a few times over the years, and every time it's just fun craziness, and I love doing the Toxic Waltz. I'm not gonna lie.
Try singing it. Try singing it. You think you know the lyrics until you become the singer, and you're like, holy shit, I thought I've been listening to this song my whole life. This is what you've been saying the whole time. Jesus.
So you had a chance to do that one live with the band, actually, or was that with Skinlab? Or
yeah, I stepped in to help when Zetro quit the band before a Brazilian tour, a South American tour. So those are my boys, Exodus and my homies. Paul Balos, my hero.
There you go.
And when I seen that they needed help, I kind of raised my hand. And 1-2 week tour turned into like 3 months of touring. We did the South American headlining tour, then immediately flew back and landed in Hollywood and joined the Megadeth for a full arena sold out tour. And yeah, man, I was going to be the singer, but I immediately felt from the crowd and the fans that they wanted their Zetro back.
I got you.
So just helped to mention along. Yeah, but childhood dream come true. Fucking A. I was the singer for Exodus once.
Very cool. I was not aware of that. So.
It's been swept under the carpet, so to speak. It was something to help them inch right along. That's all.
A question about your new album. You got a couple new members in the band. How anybody can introduce to us?
Yeah,
working with you.
Yeah, we do. Like I said, unfortunately, our boy Angelo, he wasn't able to tour as much as, we don't even tour that much, but, he wasn't able to leave his family as much as we're going to have to. So he, was a true homeboy and stepped aside for us to continue and do our thing. But, and then our drummer Fabian, he moved to Italy, and just with everything going on with politics, and they made it hard for him to return back to America, and you know, he's got a new band going out there, which we totally support. And he moved out there with his wife, family, and everything. And you know, with Skinlab, it's family first. You know what I mean? So we've encouraged him to just, you know, enjoy his life out there in Europe. We'll be fine out here, you know, and we'll pass ways again. But we've decided to move on, and yeah, we've got a new drummer and we have a new guitar player, all of which will be announced the day that we play our first show. So, yeah, we're really stoked, and didn't know that everything we needed was right underneath our nose. So, while we put out the first time, you know, a casting call for a guitar player, we didn't know that the person we needed was one of my close friends and already right here by my side anyways, and has been. So, you know, sometimes you don't have to look further than your nose. You just have to open your eyes, right?
There you go. Absolutely. Absolutely. So actually you touched on it a little bit. So with all the chaos in the industry, touring industry and the music industry and all the changes and all this, how do you find yourself navigating it through it all?
It's really tough. But you know, I've got my ears to the ground. We do, all of us in the band, you know, individually, we're all pretty well. We've adapted to the curve. You know, we're on a smaller group. We've signed to our label, which is directly with our producer Ulrich. So, you know, we don't really see the direct hit of things, you know, because we have full control of everything. But sometimes when you have 100% of nothing, you know, it's you've got to work and work your way for everything for yourself. So, you know, it's adapt or die, right? You
Yes.
know, all we
Yes.
know is we we've gone this far, or should we say lack thereof. We're really comfortable with where we are. We're Skinlab. We know who we are. We know the value of our band. You know, we really are amongst fucking giants, and the fact to be, and we're still around. You know, fucking 30 years later. I
Testament
think
to your
people are
hard
really
work.
gonna enjoy the new album because you know, we never stray far from home.
Mhm.
We never sell out. Um, we always stay true to Skinlab, and within, like I say, our influences on our sleeve proudly. So you're gonna get nothing left. The new songs are fucking amazing. They're really fucking good. And if I'd like to say that a comparison, it's kind of a mix between, you know, Venomous, our latest record, and Revolting Room, which is probably the most commercial records out of all of ours, but over the years, you know, I mean, because when it was released and it was kind of like a hot potato. You know, nobody wanted to claim that it was theirs because it was a cross where we went into a land of commercialism. You know, we were influenced by bigger bands. Of course, we wanted to be bigger than the last record. You know what I mean? And we started writing songs with bigger hooks and, you know, bigger choruses. And, you know, 30 years later, the fucking album is standing on its own 2 feet. And it's been cool to kind of revisit every single one of our albums and pull a little bit of something from each one of them. On this album, I try to write a parallel to each song, you know, not, you know, black to white, but like, you know, a pale face. Okay, a pale face to a consideration. The fans love that song. Let's give them something that's similar with a little bit, kind of like Slayer. You know, we feel that we've earned the right to fucking be Skinlab, and you know, well, fuck, we can rip ourselves off. You know,
There you go.
nothing wrong with that.
So should fans expect a little bit off of everything during your set list for the Big Island Metal Bash?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we have a nice little parfait of goodness for you, I'd say. You know.
Awesome. Looking forward to that.
Yep.
So,
No, I'm really excited because the lineup that we have now is pretty fucking badass. Our new drummer is sick. Our new guitar player is fucking sick. I mean, and the attitudes and everything going on right now is pretty rad. So, but we have a West Coast tour that we'll be doing starting in the Bay Area. So the first show will be in the Bay Area. You know, debuting our new lineup.
very
So
cool.
we're pretty stoked. So we have about 8 shows. So by the time we'll get to Hawaii, we'll be nice and
Good and warmed
well
up.
rehearsed. And
Yeah.
yeah, man, we're really
Nice.
stoked. We'll have our, you know, our tan lines all ready, so to speak.
I like to ask a funny question every once in a while to all our guests. You have a Spinal Tap moment you'd like to talk about?
Oh yeah, I mean, we've had so many Spinal Tap moments from like I mean, coming out with the big, you know, smoke machine, walking on stage to a sold out crowd to look back and see, you know, what is now Mastodon, but today's the day's backdrop behind you as you're just, you know, giving it all Skinlab style. And you wonder why everyone's looking at your backdrop that says today's the day. That was pretty funny. You had to laugh about that. I almost killed him, but it was pretty funny in the end. We've had some pretty good ones, man. I mean, it would take probably more than time we had to think about it, but
Fair enough.
there's nothing, you know, half of the good times with Skinlab are right before we go to bed. When we're in the van and, you know, everyone's either a little buzzed or just delirious and tired from the day. You know, there's nothing better than going. It's one of the best things that I love about touring is just when the boys are just, you know, you're all buckling down to go to bed and the stupidest shit is just said, you know. And I think it's just from pure delirium, right? You know, we're just fucking exhausted and ready to go to sleep. I've had some of the funniest times. Skinlab, all my bands with all my friends. I mean, it's just that's kind of like it's a big payoff and like makes you just, you know, just think of like, wow, this actually is cool. I still fucking love doing this, you know.
Awesome.
Sometimes it's more than just the 35 minutes on stage, you know. It's the times that you're kicking it with your homies, you know.
I do.
I've been left in Italy on the way to France, you know, picked up by an ambulance to chase an ambulance fucking 120 miles an hour, only to actually catch up with the damn bus. And they didn't realize that I was fucking even gone, and I was in my socks. Yeah. We made I think we made the Kerrang cartoon section for that. So that was a good payoff. Little suffer for a good payoff, but you know, there's never a short mile in Skinlab, that's for sure. Whether it's a joke or a fucking, you know, or a cry, we always pay for it.
Oh, awesome. So, well, with that, we look forward to you Friday night, October 9th. The island is buzzing with excitement right now. We're all just waiting. We're doing our little metal shows beforehand. Everybody's just getting amped up, and we hope you guys have a really good time while you're out here. Thank you.
Cool. No, we're excited, man. I got like 50 people with all the bands. I mean, shit, more than that. It's going to be insane. Yeah, we're stoked.
Cool.